Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanek and Robert Paris, Peter Brown with the weather, Jolie Atwood with community calendar, and Liz Gillespie with sports. Thank you for joining us. It appears the Grinch mostly stayed away from Burlington this year, but police are still offering advice on how to prevent package theft as parcels continue to trickle in due to high levels of deliveries this year, and people are still ordering online more due to the pandemic. Burlington Police Lieutenant Glenn Mills said that in December there were only 2 calls for package thefts in town. Further, one of the calls was a mistake where a neighbor picked up a package, and the other was a lawn ornament taken from a porch. Lieutenant Mills said it is possible thefts were down this year because more people were working from home. He added there has also been an increase in home security cameras and doorbell cameras that make it increasingly difficult to commit this crime and get away with it. However, he did note that they have seen an increase in unlocked cars being broken into and advised residents to ensure they lock their vehicles overnight. He explained that car break-ins are a low-risk crime and that require no specific skills, and it is harder to catch perpetrators. If you're looking to get involved in town government and work for the residents of Burlington to improve the town, now is the time. It's election time again for the town of Burlington. Town Clerk Amy Warfield said in a release, noting that nomination papers are available starting on Monday, January 4. The seats that will be on the ballot this year include Town Moderator, Town Clerk, 2 seats on the Board of Selectmen, 1 seat on the School Committee, and 1 seat on the Planning Board, among others. You can find the full list on our website at bcattv.org/bnews. To run, you must be a registered voter in the town of Burlington. First, you have to contact the town's clerk's office to register as a candidate, and then collect 50 signatures of registered voters to be put on the ballot. The deadline to return all paperwork is February 19. The town election will be held on Saturday, April 10, in the Burlington High School Gymnasium. A fixture of the Burlington landscape for over 30 years, the BLine, trekked through the neighborhoods and business districts of Burlington. The BLine has given its last ride, and gratefully we look back at the legacy of Burlington's public transportation. BNews reporter Tad Stefanek has this report.
On November 19, 1987, Burlington launched its public transportation system called the People Mover, featuring 6 bus routes throughout the neighborhoods and businesses of Burlington. On December 31st, 2020, the BLine made its final voyage. BNews looks back at the tried and true legacy of the BLine.
It was really effective. So when it was in its prime, it went into different neighborhoods and would pick people up almost at their door or just a block away. So people were able to use it to go grocery shopping, to come to the senior center, to go to the mall, go to Leahy, whatever they needed it for, they used it for.
Many people advocated for it because it helped people in need. It helped people get from work or get to their doctor's appointments or things like that.
BLine service thrived throughout the 90s with its many administrators and riders. A firm advocate of the BLine was former transportation administrator Ellie O'Connell.
With me is Marie Saya from Alcine Road, and she works at Leahy Clinic. And I understand you've been using the bus for the last few weeks, getting back and forth to work.
Yes.
How is it working out?
It's working out very well, Ellie.
And I understand from drivers that you've been taking the bus for a while, getting back and forth to the clinic from home.
Yes, and I find it as it being very convenient.
We were always fortunate because the MBTA had the 352 that ran through Burlington, so you'd get a subsidy from the state. So some of it would be privately donated with some of the companies around us. Some of it, of course, was through the tax dollar, and then some of it was the MBTA subsidy. This is one of those things in a community that really, it doesn't make sense dollar-wise, but it makes sense for the public good-wise, and that's why we always advocated for it.
I think it shows a community that cares about its people and wanting to make sure that there's adequate transportation for everybody and that everyone can get where they need to go. I think that it's too bad that it wasn't being used to its full potential toward the end.
And town meeting's been good to the BLine.
All those in favor?
They really have. I mean, they've supported that. They've supported the people who needed it. Unfortunately, with COVID and everything else, the numbers were dwindling anyway. And what happens is when you got to a point where now nobody was really traveling, Even the small few that we were helping were now not traveling out. And it started to become very clear that, even the Transportation Committee started to say, at some point you have to call it. And we held on as long as we could. Burlington really held on as long as it could.
It's been a slow death, really. Several years ago, they took the BLine out of the neighborhoods. At that point, people were unable to really use it. The older seniors that couldn't drive and really depended on it.
I think the biggest dilemma with it is every year as you'd look at it, you'd wonder if the money we were spending on it was worth the amount of people who were using it.
It was decided that we weren't going to renew the BLine.
I heard more outrage from the non-senior population, but I certainly heard outrage from the senior population, from some of them. And I get it, but I think a lot of that was fear of using a new system.
Burlington's public transportation system has evolved to using the Vehicle for Hire service, Lyft. Contact the Council on Aging for details.
Many of them are now using the new system, and they seem very happy with it.
Again, Burlington being Burlington, I have always been proud of this fact. We take care of our own, right? And we take care of people who need it.
People shouldn't have to ask somebody for a ride. They should just be able to go when they need to go. And I think the new system answers that, and I think the BLine answered that. But, I think it's also maybe it's idea whose time is past.
Town meeting did not turn its back completely on public transportation. They're giving another option. I think the community should be proud. I think we should be proud of what we've done.
The legacy of the BLine marks a 33-year history of serving Burlington. We salute the efforts of the Burlington Transportation Committee, and we thank you. For BNews, I'm reporter Tad Stefanak.
A local restaurant chain is shutting down some of its restaurants for the winter, including its Burlington location. Not Your Average Joe's will be closing 4 of its Massachusetts locations for the winter, including the one in the Wayside Shopping Center in Burlington. The temporary shutdown means that 96 employees in the state will be furloughed. According to the report, the shutdown began on Monday, January 4. CBS reports that the company received $5.9 million from the Paycheck Protection Program to keep afloat and pay employee salaries. That, combined with outdoor dining, allowed them to keep the locations open as long as they did, a spokesperson is quoted as saying. However, with restaurant capacity capped at 25% in the state and outdoor dining not available or a viable option, the company decided to close its locations with the lowest sales. The other Massachusetts locations to temporarily close are Arlington, Methuen, and Randolph. BHS class of 2018 alumni Rira Orchanian launched her cake business, Rita's Cakes, a few years ago, and has seen it grow both locally and with a strong online presence. BNews Director Rich Hosford spoke with Rita and has this look at her business.
When the shutdown due to COVID-19 first hit, a lot of people became amateur bakers. However, one Burlington resident and recent Burlington High grad has been baking for over a decade and a few years ago launched her own cake and cupcake business. Rira Orchanian, an alum of the BHS class of 2018, is the owner of Rita's Cakes. Baking is something near and dear to her and an activity she started at an early age.
So, kind of ever since I was little, I remember being 6 or 7 years old, baking in my grandma's old kitchen. So she kind of got me into baking and cooking and stuff like that. And when I was 13 or 14, I started an Instagram page and I just posted whatever cakes I made because it was something that I really love to do. And it's kind of grown from there.
Rita said that one thing that makes her cakes unique is that because she often knows her customers, she can personalize them. As she reached a wider audience, she has taken to posting videos of the cakes being made to connect with people online.
Recently, I've gotten into is being more on the social media aspect of it. I've taken videos of my processes of making cakes and stuff like that, which has been, I think, an exciting thing for my viewers on social media and on TikTok I've gotten into as well. So that's been a really fun thing too, that I think people like to see the creation of my cakes and then be able to get a cake as well.
And while most small businesses have been hit hard this year, Rita says that she has been busy throughout the pandemic.
It's actually surprising. I think this year I've gotten the most cake orders that I've ever gotten. Some of the gatherings that I've been making cakes for are smaller gatherings, obviously. We can have 100 plus people in one place. But in June and July, I did a ton of graduation cakes. The summer is a popular time for birthday cakes too. So I did get a ton of orders for those over the summer.
Finally, the positive feedback she gets from customers keeps her motivated.
I've been getting like pretty positive feedback from these people. I just made a cake for a client for Christmas, and she just messaged me a couple days ago that they loved it. It was like a great Christmas surprise for them. So I've been getting really positive feedback, which makes me feel like it's worth it.
You can find Rita's Cakes on Facebook at Rira Orchanian's Cakes and Cupcakes, and on Instagram and TikTok at Rita's Cakes. From a Zoom interview, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
Burlington Police will be saying a fond farewell to a number of its members next month. Chief Michael Kent said in a release that 5 longtime members of the Burlington Police Department will retire. Burlington Police Dispatcher Gail Fay, Officer Spiro Stingos, Officer William Soda, Detective Thomas Fournier, and Sergeant Bernard Scipoletti all will be retiring in January. Altogether, these 5 have over 150 years of combined experience, Chief Kent said. The impact they have had on the community will not soon be forgotten. We wish them all the best and hope they have happy and healthy retirements. A long-discussed residential housing project in the 3rd Avenue Development Project will be before the town early next year. Nordblum has filed paperwork with the Burlington Planning Department for a 300 multifamily residential project at 174 Middlesex Turnpike next to the Lifetime Fitness facility. As pointed out in the application cover letter, in September 2019, town meeting expanded the Planned Development District zoning language to further support housing opportunities within Northwest Park by allowing for the development of an additional 300-unit multifamily residence. According to Nordblum, they have determined this location next to Lifetime Fitness to be the best place for the residential project. It has been vacant after knocking down a building several years ago. Leahy Hospital and Medical Center is in the process of adding a new permanent helideck for emergency medical flights. According to paperwork filed with the Planning Department, Leahy Clinic Foundation, located on Burlington Mall Road, is looking to build the structure near the new emergency room facility. They say in the cover letter for the application that this is a continuation of improvements that have been made at the campus. They explain that while they have an existing helipad, the helideck they are proposing is closer to the emergency room. They also explain that while originally intended to be placed on the roof, they have decided to put it outside the building to increase response times during an emergency. This will allow them to cut out the use of an elevator during transportation of patients. The application is scheduled to be before the Planning Board on Thursday, January 21st. Did Santa bring you some new clothes? The Francis Wyman Parent Teacher Organization is asking you not to throw out your old clothes, but instead would like people to drop off their unwanted clothing in the donation bin located behind Francis Wyman Elementary School. The donation bin is a collaborative effort between Bay State Textiles and Burlington PTOs benefiting Burlington Public Schools and the environment. Bay State Textiles collects the items out of the bin on a monthly or biweekly basis, and they donate $100 per ton to the school. According to studies done by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, in 2010 and 2011, textiles make up 5% of Massachusetts waste. Bay State Textile accepts old clothes, shoes, blankets, jackets, bed sheets, pillows, and even stuffed animals are welcome. The school earns money for any textile you drop off. A representative from the Francis Wyman PTO told BNews that during the holidays, many people get rid of old clothes after receiving new items, and this would be a great time to support the organization. They added that because of COVID-19, they have not been able to conduct their normal fundraising events. In the latest edition of Exploring Science, Burlington Science Center's Sean Musselman explains how you can use a phone and tablet apps to explore the stars and planets above in the night sky. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Sean Musselman, science specialist at the Burlington Science Center and a teacher here for the Burlington Public Schools. And I want to share with you a really fancy piece of software that you can use with friends and family when you're outdoors any time of the year. And that's apps like this one called the Star Chart app. Star Chart apps come on all devices for all different types of phones and tablets, but they all work in roughly the same way. All of them use what's called augmented reality, so that you can see both the sky and world around you, as well as a layer of information that tells you a little bit about what you're seeing. This is great for folks exploring the night sky who may be unfamiliar with the many constellations and other objects that you can see on any clear sky all year long. For example, one of the things I like to do with my own children is point out some of the major constellations of any given season. One of the great things I like to do with my kids is ask them to use their imagination and think about what kind of shapes those constellations mean to them. One of the great things that you can explore with your child are the patterns that arise as you go looking out month after month, and where easily visible constellations are in relation to the horizon and how they change over time. What's really nice about star chart apps is that they're also able to help you explore some of the things that are more difficult to see in the sky, such as some of the outer planets, as well as man-made satellites like the International Space Station. Depending on the type of app you're using or which app you're using, some of these apps may even alert you to when the space station or other significant objects in the sky will be most visible and at what time in your area. It's just another way that the technology in your pocket can expand your learning horizons with your friends and family, outdoors or in. The most wonderful part about this app may be that you can use it at any time of night or day to explore the deepness of space and all of the wonderful, incredible objects that exist out there. Again, I'm Sean Musselman, Burlington Science Specialist for the Burlington Public Schools, wishing you happy exploring and stay curious.
The winter sports season has begun, and sports reporter Liz Gillespie has everything you need to know about the first games of the new year. We go to her now in this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Gillespie, and this is your weekly sports report. The winter season kicked off last week, and we have some updates to see how everyone did. The Lady Devils basketball team traveled to Wilmington last Saturday to take on the Wildcats. Burlington snuck by the Wildcats in a game-winning buzzer beater of 30-28. Points were scored by senior captain Marina Callahan, sophomore Olivia Pena, junior Michaela Giordano, and senior Sydney Pavo. This team starts the year at 1-0 and will face the Wildcats again for their home opener on Saturday, January 9th at BHS. This game will be live streamed on the BCAT Facebook page at 10:45 a.m. The Red Devil basketball team had their home opener against the Wilmington Wildcats at BHS on January 2nd. We have some highlights, so let's check those out.
The Burlington Red Devils basketball team had their home opener on Saturday, January 2nd at BHS against the Wilmington Wildcats. Let's get to the highlights. Both teams started out slow with 10 points for Burlington and 9 for Wilmington at the end of the first. By the second period, things picked up the pace. Burlington scored an additional 17 points, and Wilmington had 20. 29-27 at the half, Wildcats. When the game resumed in the third, the Red Devils added 18 points on the board, while the Wildcats had 13, 45-42 Burlington. As both teams entered the fourth, they were trying to find ways to pull out a W for the first game of the season. The Red Devils managed to score 17 points, but Wilmington only put up 13 points. Burlington came away with the victory of 67-55. We had a chance to talk with Coach Connors after the game.
First time these guys have been in a live game in 9-10 months, so we expected some of it. We got to get better. Guys I think know themselves, they didn't play to their capabilities. Fourth quarter was much better, but we just turned the ball over. You can't turn the ball over 20 plus times and expect to win a game. It's an adjustment, but we'll be all right.
The Red Devils moved to 1-0 on the season and will face the Wildcats again in Wilmington.
Points were scored by captain/senior Tyler Williams, junior Shane Mahoney, and freshman Cedric Rodriguez. The team started with a 1-0 record and will be facing the Wildcats at Wilmington on Saturday in Wilmington. The Lady Devils ice hockey took on the Wilmington Wildcats at Ritucia Memorial Arena. 8th grader Caitlin Tremblay had her first goal in her high school career, while senior forward Shannon McDonald had 5 goals. Burlington beat the Wildcats. Both the girls and boys had their home opener on Wednesday, January 6th against Wilmington. We have some highlights, so let's check those out.
The girls and boys hockey teams had their home opener on Wednesday, January 6th at the Burlington Ice Palace. First, the Lady Devils faced off against the Wilmington Wildcats. Let's get to the action. Burlington started off the night with a 1-0 goal by Elena Ceramides. The Wildcats answered by tying up the game 1-1. Wilmington added another goal, giving them the lead 2-1. Burlington's Ava Patron tied up the game before the end of the first half, 2-2. It was all Lady Devils early in the second half as Alexia Hamilton and Cindy Shinopoulos scored, 4-2. The Wildcats ended up tying the game late, 4-4. No one went home with a win or a loss and ended the game in a tie. The girls moved to 1-0-1 on the season. Now, on to the second game with Red Devils hockey. Jack Jay scored the first points for Burlington, and they were up 1-0. In the second half, things picked up the pace as Jack Jay and Brian O'Neill scored for the Red Devils. Wilmington's Mike Daniels managed to score 2 goals for the Wildcats. The final in this one, 4-2, Burlington. The Red Devils will travel to Wilmington on Saturday, January 9th to take on the Wildcats again.
Both the girls and boys gymnastics teams were scheduled to have meets. However, they have been postponed to later dates. Burlington High School seniors Cam and Zach Soda will be attending Edinburgh University on a wrestling scholarship. BNEWS sports reporter Robert Paris has more.
Senior twins Cam and Zach Soda have been wrestling at BHS since they were freshmen. During the years, they have won state tournaments and broke records from previous BHS alumni. Now, they are heading off to Edinburgh University on a wrestling scholarship in the fall.
For the last few months, we've been obviously in the college search, knowing where we want to go to wrestle next year and continue our academic career too. I mean, it's been a stressful time. It's hard, it's confusing, it's a lot of things, but Edinburgh was probably one of our top choices throughout the whole time, and we're just happy to sign there. They showed the most interest, so it was like once we had a call with them and they offered us, and it was easy to say yes and sign.
Head coach Paul Schwartzman is proud to see the Soda brothers continue their wrestling career after high school.
I mean, it's something that's been on their mind for something they've been focused on a lot lately, and something that's been on their mind for many years. So now they can just kind of focus on their senior year and not have to worry about that side of things. So it's good to get it done with, good to get it out of the way, and good to be going to a school that they want to go to, that they're excited about. They've just been a pleasure to coach. You know, they came in the room with a good attitude. They work hard. They, have great technique. They're very coachable, which makes it fun for us. And just seen them grow from, scrawny little freshmen to, almost college-size wrestlers now. They've put on the weight, put in the work that they're supposed to put in, and it's been fun.
The MIAA pushed back the wrestling season to this spring.
The season we were supposed to get in the winter wasn't much of a season, wasn't much to get excited about with just wrestling league dual meets. I know for basketball and hockey, that's okay. For wrestling, I guess it's better than nothing, but not by a lot. So now pushing it to the spring, it opens up a lot of doors. Maybe we can have a postseason. Maybe we can have some tournaments. Who knows? A lot can change between now and the end of April. So it gives us a lot of hope for having some semblance of a real season.
The Soda boys and Coach Schwartzman are hoping for a little bit of normality when the season arrives.
It's kind of weird showing up to school and not wrestling at the end of the day. Missing a lot of tournaments, and I don't know if we're going to have some of the big tournaments that we usually have, and I already know New England's got canceled, so that's a bummer.
Yeah, I guess it's just different going into school and not wrestling at the end of the day.
but at least we have something in the spring, and something's better than nothing.
You know, I'm sure they'll work hard. I'm sure they'll put in the work, but we'll kind of figure out what we're competing for and then plan it from there with, you know, what weight they're going to go and what their goals are. I mean, if we're just wrestling dual meets, then I think their goals are getting ready for college. If we're going to have tournaments and a postseason and stuff, then we're going to put them in the best position we can for them to succeed.
From Burlington High School, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Sports.
Be sure to follow the BNews Sports Twitter for more and check out BNews Sports Hub page at bcattv.org. And that's all for your weekly sports report. I'm Liz Gillespie.
Forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Jolie Atwood to see what's happening in Burlington.
Well, hello everyone. This is Peter Brown with Look at Your Weather for the next 7 to 10 days. I know it's hard to believe that we are here in the middle of winter now, and I hope you all had a very happy holiday season and Happy New Year to you all. As we start out a period on Friday, January 8th, this time of the year we're about at the coldest part of the year. It doesn't really get any colder than this, so temperatures only have to go up from here, which is great news. We're going to be seeing temperatures about average on Friday in the mid and upper 30s where it should be, and again, lows at night down the upper teens to low 20s. As we round out our period on Thursday, we're going to be seeing pretty much the same in terms of the weather, so nothing crazy out there. No big storms heading for us this week. And if you take a look at the length of day, we've definitely been tacking on the minutes in the afternoons. The days will keep getting longer and longer as we head further into winter. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at what we're expecting for temperatures and precipitation in the Burlington area for the next 7 to 10 days. And again, look at this. Our temperatures are expected to be about average or slightly above average now. Take this into consideration. Our average highs are only in the low and mid 30s at this time of the year. So if we see temperatures in the upper 30s to just near 40, that is technically above average. Of course, nowhere near as warm as it was back in October, November, but definitely good that we're not going to be seeing any bitter cold coming our way. And looking at our precipitation chances, this is great news if you have to be out and about going to work or anything in the Burlington area. Looks like we're going to see very dry conditions for the next 7 to 10 days, so no rain and no snow. So as we go ahead, let's take a look at that weather for the next 7 days. And again, there's really not much I can say about this forecast other than it looks like we're going to have just great conditions out there. Very pleasant, sunny skies, a couple of fair weather clouds each day as a couple of storm systems pass well to our south on Saturday and then again on Monday. But again, those storms are going to stay well out to sea. Doesn't even look like we're going to see a chance of a flurry or even much in the way of clouds from those storms. So that is some great news. And again, looking at our high temperatures, average for this time of the year from the low to the mid 30s, and at night the same as can be said, the mid-teens to the lower 20s. So really, this is going to be a real average winter weather week for us. Now, average in terms of temperatures, but certainly not average in terms of storms, as we are not going to be seeing anything big this week, which is great news. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
And this is your community calendar.
Dance your way into the new year. Arthur Murray in Burlington is offering complimentary first lessons for beginners or pros at their studio at 209 Middlesex Turnpike. For more information, go to arthurmurray.com. Learn more about the most pressing issues in criminal justice reform. On Thursday, January 14th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a social justice series discussing mass incarceration. Everyone is welcome to attend virtually. The program will also be live streamed on BPL Facebook page. Get ready to celebrate! Black Bears, Smokey and Bubba are celebrating their 15th birthday on Saturday, January 16th, and guests are invited to join the festivities. For more information about the birthday, go to zoonewenglands.org/engage/blackbearbirthday.
I'm Jolie Atwood, and that was your community calendar.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo was a close-up of Mother Nature. It was sent in by Phyllis Neufeld and shows a great blue heron taken at Horn Pond in Woburn. It's a great photo in that it really shows the patterns of the wings and the different colors of the beak. Thank you for the photo, Phyllis. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of your holiday activities, a family trip, or just everyday moments, whatever you think is interesting and want to share with us and the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And finally this week, as we have the last couple of years, we've asked our Facebook followers to choose a photo of the year from all of the 2020 Photos of the Week entries. We had a great response, and the photo that was selected was this one seen here by Vishad Nigam that features his wife and daughter in a silhouette overlooking the ocean with a stunning skyline above it. Perhaps it's not surprising that while we were in winter that people long for a nice beach scene or a golf scene. Congratulations, Vishal, on having your photo be the 2020 Photo of the Year. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, Liz Gillespie, Jolie Atwood, and Peter Brown. Thank you for joining us.